So hey guys, welcome to the algorithm decoded. Hope you are having a great day. I am Akash Rana. We're starting our DSA grind sessions now. For those who don't know, we'll be practicing DSA questions for the placements. And for more updates, you can join the Telegram group. The link will be in the description. And you can also chat with me, give your views on that. So without wasting any time, let's start with our first question. And the first question is array rotate array. Okay, so given an array, rotate the array to the right step by k step, and where k is non-negative number. तो हमें कुछ ऐसा array दिया and we need to rotate it by k steps at the right rotation. So what does it mean by the right rotation? The elements at the end will go up to the front. So 7 go front, 6 go to the front, and 5 go to the front. So it will become something like 5 6 7 1 2 3 4. Yeah, and these are the constraint 10 raised to the power 5. So we can't think of any n square type of solution, and we need to do it in big of one space, right? So these are the constraints, and now just move to our the notes part. So I'll be giving you the notes regarding the logic and the thought process. You can revise later from these notes, right? And I'll be giving you the daily assignments where, so try to solve it daily. And first question, which is rotate array nums, we have given a nums 1 to 7. So there are two type of rotations, right rotation and left rotation. So what does it mean by right rotation? K equal to 3, we are rotating from the right direction, or we are moving the elements at the end to the front. So for we need to move 3 elements to the front, right? So it will become sorry, yeah, this way. So 7 will go to the front, 6 will go to the front, 5 will go to the front. So it will become 5 6 7 1 2 3 4. Left rotation means rotation from the left side, and we are moving the elements at the front to the end. So 3 elements पीछे चल जाएंगे, and 4 5 6 7, then 1 2 3. Yeah, so first always think of the brute force, like how to do that question in a brute force way. So that would be कि just move one element to the front and then do it for all the k elements, right? So by moving element at the front, I need to create space for it, and it will be in big of n, right? So the total complexity would be big of nk, big of n for shifting and big of k for for the k times, means that for all the k elements that we need to rotate, right? And another way is to create an extra copy, and by an extra copy I means that I need to address these elements in a cyclic way, right? So if I need to get 5 6 7 1 2 3, I can start from this index and I can push it in a vector or array, and that would be 5 6 7, and after that 1 2 3 4, right? So for that I need to create an extra copy. How to do it in the same array? Now the question is, but requirement, we need to do it in the big of n time complexity and big of 1 space complexity. How? So let's logic or slash visualize. Let's visualize the question. We have given this array, right? So we have given this array and we need to get this array, right? Makes sense. And I just divided this into two parts. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and I can see the first parts will go to the end part, right? So 1 2 3 4, and the another one 5 6 7 will move to the front. So it will become 5 6 7, and this is the second part, right? So now the question is how to do that. Okay, so let's try to achieve this only, right? So अगर मुझे इन elements को पीछे लाना है और इनको आगे, so how could I do that? By swapping them, or in other way by reversing them. Okay, so if I reverse, the second part will go up front and the first will go to the back, right? But while reversing, its order will get reversed, right? अगर मैं इसको reverse करके लाता हूँ तो मुझे 7 6 5 मिलेगा, and for this one I will get 4 3 2 1. But our requirement is 1 2 3 4 and 5 6 7. So I need to reverse these parts also, like these individual parts. First reverse the array, then reverse this individual part. I hope you got the logic. So that's it. We need second part at the front. Can we get it at front by reversing whole array? But that will reverse the orders of both parts. Makes sense. So whole reversal will lead to 7 6 5 4 3 2 1, right? So yeah, we can see 7 6 5 and 4 3 2 1. Now I need to reverse these two parts also. So reversing 5 6 7 and 1 2 3 4. So that's it, and let's try to code it out. So for the coding part, you can increase the playback speed for better experience, right? So I've just taken the array size, and one more thing that I would like to add is, see, in this part we are talking about the k. Okay, so for k, if I say ki this is the n equal to 7, right? So for if I want to make a rotation of 0, or I want to make a rotation of 7 or 14, this all will result into same case, right? क्योंकि cycle form हो जा रही है after a certain period. अगर मैं आपसे बोलता हूँ कि I need to do it in 1 5 or not 1 8 and 15, right? So for that the result would be same, right? कि single rotation करनी है. So it is in the multiple of the length size, right? So we also need to include that logic, and let's just include that, right? So in n, and for the k it would be k percentage n. And now we just talked about we need to reverse the whole array, right? So we can use stl function as we have given vector. And for more update you can check, I have created another video on the stl on array part, right? But I will just make you understand this function, right? So I may reverse the and I need to reverse the whole array, so we can pass the begin and end. This will given the iterator, right? And then I need to reverse the whole the two parts, first and second, right? So first part, it starts from 0th index and end at k minus 1 index, so I can get it from so yeah, this is begin nums, and I can get begin of nums plus k, right? And I need to reverse the second part also, which would be begin from nums plus k and at end at right. So let's just try to run it. This showing showing correct, so let's try to submit it. Passed. So yeah guys, that's it for the first question. Let's move to our second question now. So our second question is remove duplicates from sorted array, right? This is the assignment question sheet, and let me just open the question now. So yeah, the second question of our sheet, remove duplicates from sorted array. We have given a sorted array and the non-decreasing order, so it means increasing, same bhi ho sakta hai, in place such that. And what does it mean by in place, we will see that later. So yeah, after replacing, so let me just give you an overview of this question ki hame ek sorted array diya in the form of 112, so it can have duplicates, right? 0 0 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 4, and we need to make we need to remove all the duplicates and we need to return single value of every element, right? So it will be 0 1 ke kitne bhi sare ho, I will remove every other elements and take one only. So 0 1 2 3 and 4. After that, just leave all the array as it is, and then we need to return the length, so it can print those elements, right? 0 1 2 3 4. So let's move to our notes for more clarity. Yeah, so remove duplicates from sorted array. This is the array we need to return, right? So the first, brute force. Okay, let's think about the brute force. For brute force, I can use another set, hash maps, something to get the count, and then I just get only one element or create an array, update values over it. There can be multiple. Yeah, I check its duplicates for simplicity, right? Take two lobes, and if zero agar if have any other zero, so counts मिल गया and मेरे को, and then I will update 10 in it and something like that, right? And the hash map approach, so I need to do it in place, right? So big of one space through replacement or so through swapping of elements. This is what it means by in place. Okay, at that same place. So let's think about the logic. So we are discussing the n2 approach, right? So for n square approach, we are traversing key, I just caught at this point, and after that I will move to, I will traverse all the zero, right? And after traversing all the zeros, and so after that key, I've got two zeros, I will move our index to this position, then check whether any zero exists, and I will check whether there is a zero at the previous or something like that. But we are traversing at every step, so we can utilize something and we can minimize this operation, right? So I don't need to traverse on every each one, right? Agar mujhe yahan pe one mil gaya, then after that I should move to this two, right? Okay, I took one from all these ones, right? So I will utilize this kind of information for our logic, right? So let's move to the coding section now and give you an idea about it. So yeah, now for the coding part, I can take an index equal to 0 to get those position, and I'm talking about two pointer here, so I equal to 0 and j equal to 0. And while I is less than nums of size, as I am working on the size, so while now I need to check, I need to increment our j. So while j is less than nums dot size, okay, and what we have is nums of I is equal to nums of j. We are getting the same element, the duplicate element. I can just increment the j. So after moving that, just create a value regarding that. Okay, 2 pointer discuss कर ले normal, and after that make I equal to j, right? So if I'll say take an example like this, मैंने I को यहाँ पे fix करा, then I move my j, ij, then j comes up here, right? So मुझे पता चल गया कि 0 मिल चुका है, 0 की 2 entries है, I'll update 0 at the first position and I'll move I to this position, so that won't make it big of n square, and after that I can just return the index for the length, right? And it should work. So yeah, it is working. And now just improve the, now let's just make this code more elegant, right? So for that what we can do is, there is not much of j role here, right? So if I am on this position I and j, I'm traversing on all these parts, and after that I'm fixing one. So why don't we just fix one in at the starting, right? So one को हमने starting में fix कर दिया, and after that just increment I and check with our last update the last entered value, whether that is equal to the last entered value. If it is, so increment, and at that position whether that is equal to our last submitted in pushed value, which is 1. No, it isn't, so push 2 in it, right? So let's just utilize some kind of that kind of logic, right? So I can make it 4. Can remove this from the equation, and while and if nums of, so if the last entered or pushed value, which is nums of index, is equal to the nums of current position, what we can do is I can just continue, right? Else I'll update the value. Okay, I can do some sort of that if I start from 0. So the problem would be key I'm starting from 0, 0 is equal to the nums of 0, and I will continue, but that isn't the case. So I'm starting with -1, and I can, for -1, I, for the first index I need an entry. So if index is not equal to -1, and so after I moved out of this case, so before that just pre-increment the index, right? And after that for the length part I just need to return the +1. So these are just the modification to the code. The first one also just works fine, right? And for this 2 logic I can also combine it with the 1. So we are moving when this is not equal, right? So if we are equal and right length other than moving, what we can do is if index is equal to -1 or this condition, just update the value, right? Otherwise just move. Now our code becomes more elegant. It is working. Let's try to submit it. So that's it. Let's move to our question number 3. So our question number 3 of the sheet, the threesome, right? So given an integers array, nums return all the triplets such that I is not equal to j, I is not equal to k, blah blah is equal to 0, right? So we need to get 3 indices, and for those indices the sums of their value, so at that ith position, jth position, kth position, some of these should be equal to 0, right? And the solution size must not contain duplicate triplets. And what does it mean by the duplicate triplets? So there would be duplicate value, right? So first condition is the indices should not be equal, okay? All would be different. And the second conditions, the second constraint is कि जो elements are like 1 to 1, and there can also be another 2, right? So I can form another 1 to 1, something like that, right? Just in this case the -1 I utilize these 2 -1 and then 2. If there is another 2, I can't just utilize this information -1 and 2. That would be result in the duplicate triplets. Okay, so that's the question, and we will think about some logic. So let's move to our notes. So we move to our note section. Threesome brute force. One brute form is key big of n cube, where we will get all the triplets, and then big of k for the unique triplets, and then we need to push it in something like, and then we need to check whether that value exists or not, something like that, right? So And so the brute force is we are fixing one number, then second number, and then iterating for the third number, right? This is what brute force is. Okay, I will fix I, then I'll fix j, and then I'll traverse on the k part. I will, so ijk, you know that, right? So now we need to optimize this, and let's think of something else. So what if we fix number one only? Then the problem would become key, I'm fixing two numbers, three digits, right? So why don't I just fix I? And then the problem would become is key, I need to calculate a pair, and that pair sum would be target minus x, right, where x is the value of the number you fixed by it, right? And how to achieve that? Use hash maps to get pair. We can get that pair by hash maps, right? Ki hash maps में सब push कर दिए, and after that I'm just traversing on it and I'm getting a complement of that number. Or use sorting. I can also use sorting ki first element from the start position, another from the this, and I can pair up or something like that. So for sorting it would take big of n log n plus n square key for that. So yeah, so we will try this, and this would result in the big of n square complexity. But how to deal with the duplicates? Now the third constraint, right? Key, this is 1 1 2 2 2, so I can form any pair, right? So we need three, as the question say we need three, so I can take 1 2, and I can also take this one and this two, but this will result in the same duplicate set, right? This will result in the duplicate pair, the duplicate set, right? So for that, what I can do is, if j is equal to 1, and I can check if j is equal to j plus 1 whether these two elements is equal, or in other case, while moving to this position, I can check whether that element is equal to the its previous one, right? So j is equal to j minus 1, अगर ये दोनों equal है, so मैं इसके साथ कोई भी पेयर बनाऊंगा. फॉर दैट मैंने एक वन फिक्स कर दिया, एंड बिफोर दैट आई फिक्स सम नंबर, राइट? सो इसका कॉम्प्लीमेंट आई विल गेट अ 2, एंड दैट वुड रिजल्ट इन अ डुप्लीकेट सेट, राइट? सो आई विल मूव ऑन, एंड फॉर दिस पोजीशन इट इज इक्वल टू द प्रीवियस वन, राइट? सो मैं किसके साथ टू का को किसी भी कॉम्प्लीमेंट बनाऊंगा, दैट वुड रिजल्ट इन अ डुप्लीकेट सेट. एंड फॉर दिस टू ऑल्सो, राइट, कि इफ आई गेट दिस j and this k, right? So in sorting we are checking from the first and from the last. So if I get this 2k, and if I'm moving to this k, so these twos are equal, right? So k is equal to k plus 1, so I need to decrement the k, right? Makes sense. Part if need 6, and for that it is something, but if need 6, so okay, now I'm talking about something ki I need to get a sum of 6, right? And these are the numbers, so I just fixed I at this position, and now our j and k, we can get 3 and 2 from this point, right? So what I'm trying to show here is कि मैंने I यहाँ पे fix किया, and for let's just say I'm traversing on this part, so j is equal to 2 and k is equal to 3, and we already figured out कि we won't take these duplicates 2 or 3 for it. But if I move our point to this 1, and then I will get another 2 and 3 from it, so that would also result in the duplicate set. For I also take that case कि if this position is equal to previous one, so I should move on, I should continue, right? And this position equal to move on, I should continue, right? So that's the thing, and let's just move to our coding section and try to code it out. So the first thing, as sorting is involved, I can just sort this array, right? So for sorting I can use the implemented stl function, and which would be begins of nums comma end of nums, right? And after that I need to return this vector of vector, right? So all those sets, for that I can take a pair, which would be result, and then I need to take three variables I, j, k. So, or I don't need that. For int I equal to 0, I is less than n, and I need to get two more, so I can traverse to n minus 2 plus 1, right? And first thing that we just talked about कि अगर मुझे ऐसे जो first मैं fix कर रहा हूँ उसमें मुझे 1 1 1 मिले, so if I is equal to I minus 1, that means if nums of I is equal to nums of I minus 1, but that thing will only work when I is greater than 0, right? So if that's the case, just continue. So now I fixed the 1, right? So I need to fix j, which would be I plus 1, and rk, which would start from last row, not 2 minus 1, right? So while j is less than k means there are two elements in the list. So if nums at j is equal to nums of j minus 1, right? It is from, so I just increment the j, right? So for that, this is also the case key, let's just say I'm taking something key, I am taking this as a I, so I can take this as j, right? But this is equal to the previous one, so I need to check if j is greater than I. Okay. And for this key, if nums of k is equal to nums of k plus 1, we have already talked about this, then just decrement the k, but that will only work when k is less than n minus 1. ठीक है, one thing for sure, last index के लिए नहीं कर सकते, so ठीक है. If that's the case, I can take any long sum, right? Or let's check the constraints here. So this is raised to the power 10 raised to the power of 5, so 555, that won't be greater than this, so I can take int as well. So int sum is equal to nums at I plus nums at j plus nums at k, right? So if that sum is equal to the target, which is 0, right? So at that case, just push back. I need to push the numbers, right? So push back I, comma push back j, comma push back k. Okay. And after that, what you will do is you will look out for all other pair, right? So just increment the j and decrement the k. Another case, else if sum is less than 0, so I need to increment our sum. So for incrementing, what I will do is I will increment the j, because we have a sorted array and I need to increment the value, else that means sum is greater than 0, so I need to decrement. So for that, k minus minus. And after doing all this part, what I will do is I'll just return the result, right? So let's try submitting it out. So it is showing wrong answer. Let's see. Let's try to debug the code. So yeah, this is the issue key I'm talking about. I took I here, j here. So but for that, this would be equal to, right? So j should be greater than I plus 1. So now let's try to run the code again. It is showing correct. So let's try to submit it. Showing incorrect. Let's try to debug it again. Okay, the part that I have missed here is key. Let's just say it isn't working, right? So for j++ and then continue, I need to check at every step whether j is out of the range or not, like k is out of the range or not just decrement it once or increment it once, keep incrementing it, right? So I can use a while loop here and can check these constraints, or I can do the continue part and give this while the its opportunity to, yeah, so showing accepted here. And let's try to, yeah, so submitted successfully. Let's move to our next question. So the next problem, which is next permutation, we have to return the next permutation of a sequence, right? And we need to do it in place, so use only constant extra memory. And what is next permutation? 1 2 3 इसके बाद कौन सा number आएगा by using these digits only? So it would be 1 3 2, right? For 3 2 1, we can't form any greater digit than this by using only these digits, right? Greater number form, so no number, so return the sorted order, right? And output 1 2 3. And for this 115, I can form 151. So yeah, that's it. And let's try to get the logic behind it, right? So let's move to our notes. So brute force would be to get all the permutation, compare it with the input and choose one with the less difference. Makes sense. You generate all the permutations, which would take big of n factorial, right? And then check which is the nearest to it, which is just greater than the input, right? So we need to think of better logic. So let's just visualize, right? So 1 2 3 दिया है हमें, and हमें I need to return the 132. 115 दिया है, I should return 151. So how are we getting these number, right? So माइंड में एक नंबर सिस्टम हमें पता है, वो हमें नॉट नंबर सिस्टम, हमें काउंटिंग पता है, राइट? सो हम कैसे देखते हैं 120 130 140 इन दिस वे. सो 123 के बाद आई कैन थिंक ऑफ समथिंग कि 130 आएगा, 140 आएगा, 50 आएगा. कैन आई फॉर्म सम नंबर इन द रेंज ऑफ 130, राइट? सो 132, 115 125 आएगा, 135 आएगा, एंड 145 आएगा, एंड सेम गोज ऑन, राइट? सो आई कांट फॉर्म 125 इन लाइन ऑफ 125 135 145 150, yeah, 1 5 and then 1. only 1975, right? 1975. So I can form something like 1900, then I can form 2000 2100 नहीं बना सकता इन द रेंज 3100 एंड देन 4100 समथिंग लाइक दैट एंड 5100 आई कैन फॉर्म समथिंग लाइक दैट 5 भी दिया 1 भी दिया तो 5 1 एंड देन फॉर मिनिमम ऑफ दिस 7 9 एंड फॉर 1675 आई कैन थिंक ऑफ 1600 1700 या 1700 कुछ बन सकता है 1 7 एंड फॉर द मिनिमम 1 5 एंड 6 1756 एंड सेम गोज फॉर दिस कि 15000 है देन 16000 आई कैन फॉर्म समथिंग लाइक 16000 नॉट 17000 नहीं and then I can't form 16,000, then I can't form 17,000, so some sort of 18,000 19,000 and then something 19,000 20,000, yeah, I can utilize this too. So yeah, that's the thing. So now let's think how these numbers are creating, right? So 1 2 3 I get 3 2, so मेरे को पता चला 23 and I utilize this information कि I am getting another number greater than this position, right? So I just swap this number with it, right? 132 115 I formed 151 with it. Why? Because I swapped this position with 5, right? 1975 we were thinking about something ki 1900 से 2000 and then 2100 something like that, right? So for that is ki I just utilized this information ki I took 5 and move it to the first place, another number which is greater than this, the minimum of this. So this thing, so let's this one needs to be changed. We figured it out, right? Because another pattern is ki if I move from the back, this is the biggest number, right? And this is the smallest number, bigger smallest, so this is in the decreasing order. 5 and 1 decreasing order, 5 incrementing order, 5 7 9 and this one. So this one got changed ki we are moving from the back and in the increasing order. When that order get disturbed, we will swap this position, we will do something with that position, right? So 3 2 order disturbed, do something with this position. 5 1 order disturbed, do something with this position. 1975 and 5 7 9 1 order disturbed, do something with this position. 5 7 6 do something with this position. 2 3 4 5 do something with this position. So this one needs to change, but what, from what, right? So something greater than itself from the right side makes sense ki I need to increment that number, the least greater number from the input, right? So something greater from this side, and that greater should be just greater from the one, right? 5 is also greater, 4 is also greater, but that just greater is 2. Okay, so I fixed 2 at the front and now I need to fill these 4 positions, right? So 2 is something greater than 1. Now the number should be minimum. This is for sure ki I fixed 2 at the front, so now the number will be minimum. Put remaining numbers in the sorted form. So the logic is ki put remaining number in the sorted form, that will I will get the least greater number, the minimum greater number in than the input, right? So that would be the put remaining number in the sorted order. But we are talking about but here, so the but is 15432. This part is already sorted in decreasing order. Yeah, we have already seen that this is in the incrementing order from the behind, 2 3 4 5. So sorted in the decreasing order. Why not utilize that information, right? Let's just reverse this part, so it would get 2 3 4 5. हमने 1 यहाँ पे फिक्स किया, I would get 2 3 4 5. So something I would get in the sorted order, right? And I need to change this one. So let's get something which is just greater than it, so that would be 2. But what if there are two 2's? You will swap this one with what number of 2? I can swap it with this digit also, with this digit also, right? So if I swap with the first 2, I will get 2 1 2 3 2 4 5. ठीक है, इस 2 की जगह 1 आ गया. If I swapped it with the second 2, I will get this one, so it will get 2 2 1, something like 2 2 1. So swapping it with the second one will give me a greater number, right? So I won't choose that. So the first number which is just greater than this one, swap it with that number, and which one is smaller, we got that the first one, it swapped with the first value greater than the changing position. So yeah, that's the logic. And so let's move to our coding section now, and first just take the size of the array, right? And after that, what I have to do is I need to check whether that order is getting disturbed. So form check from the last position, which is n-2. Why not n-1? Let's see, be greater than equal to 0. So from behind, as we have just talked, key 579. So order is in the increasing order, and this got disturbed at this position. 576 got disturbed at this position. So that the I minus 1, this should be greater than the previous one, right? And if not, that means the order is getting disturbed. So let's just utilize that information. If nums of I is less than nums of I plus 1, that means order is getting disturbed. Just break from it, and now I need to reverse the part after that. Right, let's just go to our सेक्शन अगेन कि मुझे पता चल गया कि ऑर्डर रिवर्स कैसे हो रहा है. इफ दिस पोजीशन इज लेस देन द प्रीवियस वन, सो ऑर्डर इज डिस्टर्ब्ड. वन इज लेस देन द, देन आई नीड टू रिवर्स दिस पार्ट. We have already talked about 2 5 4 3 2. I just need to reverse this whole part. So if this is something I need to reverse from I plus 1 to begin, right? So let's move to the coding section. So after that reversing, if what if I is equal to -1, that means कि मुझे कुछ इस टाइप का इनपुट मिला इन द फॉर्म ऑफ कि रिवर्स ऑर्डर में ऑलरेडी सॉर्टेड है, राइट. मुझे पैटर्न ही ब्रेक नहीं मिला. नम्स ऑफ आई दिस पोजीशन इज लेस देन द प्रीवियस वन, ऐसा फॉलो ही नहीं हुआ. इट कीप्स ऑन इंक्रीमेंटिंग फ्रॉम द बिहाइंड. सो इफ दैट्स द केस, जस्ट रिटर्न फ्रॉम हेयर. Another one, I need to check any number which is just greater than it. So for j is equal to I plus 1, j is less than and j plus plus, if any number which is just greater than this, you will break out of loop and then you will swap those numbers. After that you will just return from the code, right? So let's see whether we are missing anything or not. Showing correct here. Let's try to submit it. So I got submitted, beautiful. And now let's just move to our next question. So next question from the sheet, which is rotate image. Let's just move to the question part. So this is the question part. You have given an image is in the 2D form, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6, and you need to rotate it by 90 degrees, 90 degrees clockwise. So 1 2 3 वर्टिकल बन जाएगा, 1 2 3 4 5 6 वर्टिकली हो जाएगा, 7 8 9 वर्टिकली हो जाएगा, राइट. एंड यू हैव टू डू इट इन प्लेस. सो लेट्स जस्ट रेफर आवर नोट्स फॉर दैट. And let me just, yeah, so this got completed. We are on the rotate image, right? 1 2 3 90 degree clockwise rotation. So brute force way is कि allocate new matrix, traverse on each row and put those value in the columns for last. कि मैंने rows में वो iterate करना start किया 1 2 3 and I will start iterating in this direction in the new matrix, right? But I need to make change in the same matrix in place. So let's see, let's try to think of something, some approach, some logic, right? So I have given some the position, its indices here, right? So it is 0 0 the position 0 0 0 1 0 2. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 ये इनकी position है, right? And after that the positions are this. तो 7 4 1 इनकी position ये है, 8 की ये है, 9 की ये है. So let's think of 1 कि 1 position change करके कहाँ गया. So 1 move to 0 2. Okay, think of any. 7 2 0, it moves to the 0 0, right? तो 8 2 1 and it moves to the 1 1. कोई pattern तो नहीं मिल रहा, ठीक है. These are just random numbers to me, right? So I need to think of something else, ठीक है. 7 2 0. Let's try to think of in the other way, ठीक है. 7 0 2 0, अगर मैं इसके रिवर्स पे चेक करूं 2 0 0 2, right? So 0 2, it should be at this position, but it is at this position. Okay. Another number 4 1 0, if I check it on the reverse, it should be at 0 1, but 0 1, okay, it is at the 0 1, right? And check on for the another number 6 1 2, it should be at 2 1, 6 should be at 2 1, which is also correct. Another check for 9, which is at 2 2, it should be at 2 2. 9, it is at 2 0, it should be here but is at here. Okay. The 1 0 0, it should be at 0 0 but is at 0 2, right? And this 2 0 1, it should be at 1 0, which is this position but it is here. So we can see कि these numbers from the starting are from all the light. So the logic is कि जो starting के numbers है ना, these are swapping their position with the last one. Okay. So while मैंने बात करी कि if I and j, I am checking it with j comma I, which is 7. So for 7 it is this 0 comma 0, 0 comma 2 it should be at this, but at this. So it just swapped its position from the last one. So let's try to build some pattern. So that is the pattern key. And for ij to swap, make it to ji, that means the transport. So first thing is take transport and then reverse. And for transport, how to do that? So this is the matrix, right? And this is the diagonal. So if I transport this position, which is 0 comma 1 to the 1 comma 0, and 0 comma 2 it got swapped with 2 comma 0 and this. So what I need to do is I need to may whether work on this lower half or in the upper half, right? Upper triangular. Why? कि अगर मैं इस पे इसकी swapping इससे करा दूंगा, then वापस on this part I'll swap this with this, तो make no sense, right? तो if I move to the other path, so swap when I is less than j. First thing is ki I is less than j, this is line equal to I equal to j. So on the conditions when I is less than equal to j, this part b e c f, just swap this position, right? And then after we will transfer, we will reverse all the rows, right? But if I traverse on the j is greater than equal to I part, means this part, so at this position I will move this, then I'll move to d, I'll swap it with d, then I'll move to g, I'll swap it with c. This position, इस पोजीशन को अपने ठीक जगह मिल गई ना. नाउ इट जस्ट नीड अ रिवर्सल. सो इफ आई मूव फ्रॉम j is greater than equal to I can do reverse in the same loop, right? In the same path I can reverse this array right now, because all of its values, all of its correct value are in its place, right? So let's utilize this information and let's try to code it out. So yeah, matrix दिए हमें कुछ, and we need to do the work on it, right? So matrix size, and after that I am just working on where j is equal to I and j is greater than, not greater than matrix, the j is greater than equal to I conditions, right? j plus plus, and just swap those values. I with ji, we can also see in the notes part, right? Key, this is ij, which is 0 and 0 comma 1, and this is j, which is 1 comma 0. We are swapping ij with ji, ij with ji. Okay, so let's move to our coding section. Ij with ji, and after that, as we have just discussed, I can reverse the same row at this position, right? So not 0, this is I thought we can, yeah, that's the case. Let's just see whether it is working or we are missing anything. Showing accepted, size in the 1 to 20, so it won't be 0. Let's try to submit it. So yeah, that's it. Let's move to our next question. So next question, which is contains duplicate second, right? Integer array nums दिया है, and if there are two distinct indices I and j in the array such that कि वहाँ पे value equal हो and absolute I minus j is less than equal to k. What does it mean कि I minus j is less than equal to k? मतलब the change, the difference between their position should be less than equal to k, right? So अगर मैं यहाँ पे 1 हूँ and the distance should be 3, तो इनके position में change कितना, 1 2 and 3. I need to take all these elements. So are there any duplicates in it, right? 1. So if 1, change should be 1, so I can think 1 0, no duplicate, 0 and past 1, or 0 and 1. I don't need to look back, right? 1 0, I have already taken this case 1 0, right? So I should not check 0 1 again, right? So 0 and 1, no. 1 and 1, yes, there is. So for k equal to 2, 1 say 2 and 1 distance and then another distance, this is 2. So is there any duplicate in it? No. 2 3 1, any duplicate in it? No. 3 1 2, any duplicate in it? No. 1 2 3, any duplicated in? No. So this, for this it is false, right? So let's try to think of some logic and let's move to our notes. So contains duplicate element in array with position difference I minus j is less than equal to k, and यहाँ पे मैंने distance बता दिया 1 2 and 3, और 1 and 2 तो इसमें मुझे नहीं मिला. सो फॉर द सेम एरे अगर मेरे पास k इक्वल टू 3 था तो माई विंडो साइज इज 4, राइट, 1 2 3 4 एंड आई गेट k true, otherwise I get false. So brute force big of nk, and what is big of nk key is I just move to this position, and after that I move the k positions. I check for all the k position, are there any duplicates, and so let's optimize it. At each step we are adding one element and removing element. What does it mean? So 1 2 3 1. Okay, my window size is 4. Okay, I'm checking all these four elements. Now I will move next of the array. I will remove the last element and I will add the first. I will add this new element, right? So let's utilize this information. Okay, this is something like window size, and I am adding this new entry and I'm reviewing the previous one. Remove last element, add next element. If duplicate in this window, return true. So that's the logic. Seems easy, right? Adding element and the end is easy. Yes, adding element in the end is easy. I can take any vector or array, or I can just insert push element, right? Removing element from the front is difficult. Why is that? Because I need to create this vacant space. I need to fill this vacant space also, right? So I can use dq slash list for that. Okay, because I can prop from the front in deck or list. So checking duplicate exist in big of one, I can do for the duplicate exist. I can utilize hash maps and set. So that's the logic behind it, and let's go and try to code it out, right? As we have already tokened, I can take a deck, okay, and I can take an unordered map for कि मुझे check करना है whether there are any duplicates in it or not, right? Can make it cool. So just traverse on all the values, right? Push it in deck. It should be pushed back, right? If the size is greater than n, so if d dot size is greater than, the size should be what is this, k equal to 3. So 1 2 3, the size should be k plus 1. If d size is greater than k plus 1, I need to remove the element at front, right? So the element at front, and I also need to remove it from the map as well. So mp dot erase first element to d0, and then d dot pop element from the front, right? So that's the thing. And after that, now size in the range, if element exists, if this element already exists, just return true, else make an entry for this element. And after that, if I don't get the element, just return false. So that's the logic. I utilize stack. At the worst case, it will store n elements, right? But the complexity would be big of 1 for checking this, like sorry, the big of n for overall and big of 1 for checking whether any duplicate exists or not. I can use another thing also. I can remove this stack part. So what the issue is key, I need to remove the last element and I need to insert the new element, right? What if I keep this last element, okay, and while checking I will just check key whether the index that this element belongs to, whether that is in the range of its, like the position difference range or not. Okay, so take int, change it with something index familiar, right? So int I equal to 0, I should be less than num size, and I plus plus, right? So ये तो हो गया, and after that the value is nums of I, right? If that element, let's just remove this part. So if that element already exists in map, right, and the index that it belongs to, so I minus the index that it belongs to should be is in the range, right? It should be in the range which is less than equal to k, then that moment return true. Otherwise make an entry for this element at ith position. Yeah, let's try to submit this one also. So guys, that's it for the session number 1. I'll see you in the next session.